Hello, and welcome to The Philosopher's Angle, your daily French philosophical take on the news headlines. This is an AI-generated podcast based directly on the writings of the philosophers discussed, but like all AI, it can make mistakes. In the news today, October 17th, 2024, Kamala Harris was interviewed on Fox News by Bret Baier, where she discussed various topics, including immigration, her differences with President Joe Biden, and foreign policy. Here are some key points from the interview. 1. Immigration. Harris blamed Republicans for failing to pass a border bill, saying that Trump told them to reject a bipartisan immigration bill because he preferred to run on a problem instead of fixing it. 2. Differences with Biden. Harris said that her presidency would not be a continuation of Joe Biden's presidency, but did not elaborate on the differences between them. 3. Middle East policy. Harris stated that Iran is the greatest adversary of the United States and expressed her commitment to allowing Israel to defend itself from attack, including from Iran and its terrorist proxies in the region. 4. Trump criticism. Harris criticized Trump for violating the U.S. Constitution by attempting to overturn his election loss 4 years ago and sending an armed mob to the U.S. Capitol. The interview was seen as a significant moment in Harris's campaign, as she directly appealed to Republican voters and highlighted her differences with Biden. The Fox News presenters praised Harris for coming on the network and answering tough questions, but also criticized her for avoiding certain topics and not providing clear answers. Commentary inspired by the writings of Michel Foucault. The recent encounter between Kamala Harris and Bret Baier on Fox News offers a nuanced glimpse into the intricate web of power relationships that undergirds our modern political discourse. As I argue, this exchange exemplifies how knowledge is skillfully employed as a tool of influence, shaping public perception and advancing partisan interests. Harris's assertion that Republicans bear responsibility for failing to pass a border bill, a claim rooted in her portrayal of Trump's motivations, serves as a prime example of the creation of new forms of understanding. By framing Trump's actions as driven by a desire to run on a problem rather than solve it, Harris crafts a narrative that not only reflects her own party's stance, but also reinforces her own position within the power structure. This is precisely what Foucault meant when he noted, in The Archaeology of Knowledge, that the exercise of power involves the creation of new objects and subjects of knowledge. Moreover, this exchange illustrates how influence operates through complex networks of relationships, rather than being a monolithic force wielded by a single entity. Harris's criticisms of Trump, for instance, are not simply a matter of imposing her will on others. They also reflect the intricate web of power dynamics at play within the U.S. government and its various institutions. As Foucault observed in Security, Territory, Population, the state is not a unitary entity, but rather a complex network of relationships that exercise influence through multiple mechanisms. In this light, Harris's willingness to appear on Fox News can be seen as a calculated move to assert her own position within this web of power. By engaging with Baier and his audience, she not only reaches out to Republican voters, but also inserts herself into the conservative media ecosystem, potentially altering the terms of debate and shaping public perception. However, it would be naive to assume that Harris's claims are inherently true or that they exist outside the realm of power dynamics. As Foucault cautioned in Power Knowledge, we must analyze the conditions under which certain statements are considered true or false. In this case, Harris's assertions about Trump and the Republicans serve as a form of what could be called strategic narrative building, aimed at influencing public opinion and advancing her own interests. Ultimately, this exchange reveals how knowledge is wielded as a tool of influence in modern politics, with politicians like Harris navigating complex webs of relationships to shape public perception and advance their own positions. As Foucault's ideas remind us, the exercise of power is not simply a matter of imposing one's will. It also involves creating new forms of understanding, influencing the terms of debate, and asserting oneself within the intricate networks that underpin our modern world. In this sense, Harris's interview with Baier serves as a revealing example of the broader dynamics at play in U.S. politics, a realm where knowledge is wielded as influence, and truth is shaped by the strategic interests of those who seek to shape public opinion. Thank you for listening to today's episode of The Philosopher's Angle. Be sure to come back tomorrow for another reflective take on the day's news.